Wait a minute. Sorry, I started to write. After I started to sign that, you better write your name in there.
So our payroll lady quit and I didn't receive the payroll package Wednesday, so there's only one payroll warrant so far.
Another victim of the great resignation, I guess.
I signed one the other day. Yesterday, it's like, up in there yesterday.
There you go. Call the meeting to order at 7:04. Have we all had the opportunity to review the selectmen's minutes from May 5th, as well as the selectmen's minutes
Yeah.
from May 10th?
Yep.
Yes.
I move we approve both of them as submitted.
Yes, second it.
All in favor? And we have reviewed warrant number 27 and the payroll warrant of, that was, which one?
May 11th.
Okay, of May 11th. I move we submit those, we approve those as submitted.
Second it.
All in favor?
Yep.
Um,
We got two lefties here, see? I never noticed you was.
Me?
Yeah,
Really? Never paid no attention to me writing in it?
I guess not.
All 5 years here?
Lenny got a question?
I don't know, does she? Yeah, looks like her hand is up. Lenny, do you have a question?
Oh, he does. Thought he answered for
Let's just assume that she doesn't until we hear otherwise.
Lenny is a question.
her.
What is this little square
Yeah.
here? You want to click that off?
Let's see, you gotta go around with this.
Get anything to happen? Okay, so do we have an RSU 10 report? Richard, do you have an RSU 10 report for us?
Very little, just a bit. The most impressive thing of the last meeting, which was last Monday, was doing the public comments. And two people stood up and were yakking about a couple of pictures on the wall that had some relation to LBDUQ and all of that stuff and sex education. And there was two pictures on the walls and they didn't like them and they wanted the school board agreed to go look at them and take them down. The rest of the meeting was all about SEL and other things that are school programs that really are not particularly of interest to the school board.
Now, did you say the school board agreed to go look at these pictures and take them down? Or go look at them and then make a decision on as to whether to take them down?
As I think if I'm going by memory, and left with my hair, but is, thinking back to it, I believe they said they were gonna go and look at them and then make a decision as to whether or not to take them down.
Very good, thank you. And what is,
The people that were commenting were quite disturbed about them.
I'm sure they were, what is SEL?
Oh, I should have written it down and I didn't. It's a big school program. Oh, geez. I can't remember.
Okay,
I can go look it up and back later on in the meeting if you want me to.
They elect well, they didn't elect them, but they chose the principal for the high school.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Troy.
That was done in executive session, the actual hiring, and they don't show the executive session on Zoom.
Troy?
But you're right.
Troy.
They did. Kathy's right. We do have a new principal at the high school, I believe.
Wait, he has big shoes to fill from George Reuter getting done.
That's correct.
But best of luck to him. Great, well, thank you for that. Well, so for a road report this week, it consists entirely of the Thompson Brook inspection report.
You see that?
We didn't have any other road report.
No.
Okay. Yes, and of course, it's many pages and it looks just like any of their other bridge inspection reports. It seems like it was just last year that I met with Jeff Stern and what's your name now, from Liz Rothrop from the Lake Anniston Association at that bridge when they were making an inspection of it. It's not entirely, hers doesn't come entirely as a surprise.
It's nowhere near as bad as that one on Garden Road.
Well, that's right. That's right. I think this
Nowhere
one, I think
near.
this one can probably pick a number and get in line. I don't know what is to be said about the,
Yeah, but this one's on Church Street, isn't there more traffic?
yes, but it doesn't really matter if it's very little traffic. If it's about to collapse, it's about to collapse.
There's bigger trucks.
This one is not.
Bigger trucks going this way.
Have you actually been down and inspected it?
No,
Taken a look at it? I guess I'd have to say that, it is aging, but it's not all that bad. I have actually been in under it. And
So haven't I.
so I guess I'm gonna suggest that, this is the sort of thing that we could ask Jeff what he had to say about it. I think he was looking at it with the eye to, trying to get grant money for it. And it does say here that there's no, due to bridge legislation, effective in July 1st of 2001, there's no funding mechanism for the bridge, which is considered a minor span on a town way, minor span. on
Okay, so what
town.
happens, it says the bridge will be inspected again in 2023.
There you go. So I think that this, like I said, my personal feeling on this, I think we should bring this up to them and possibly even check with Jeff about it, because he has been in under it just last year. And that we should probably have this culvert take a number and get in line, because we have a couple of others that are in worse shape.
Bad, yes.
But it does say, the last paragraph does mention that Jim Foster can provide free technical assistance or on-site advice to you on this structure. And they give us a number to call if we want, and a direct number. So it's possible that we could get hold of him and
Right.
ask him to take a walk with us and talk to us about it. So we have a better sense of what really needs to happen and how bad it really is, because they have a tendency to, in my opinion, I've only been dealing with state bridge reports for a few years
Next
now.
Thursday, Bim and Jeff and I are meeting with Alex Abbott over on the Pratt Hill culvert.
And who is Alex Albert?
I don't know, he
Must have,
John,
must have a clue,
that John has asked us to get a hold of him and
John there.
the state guy.
Oh, John
there.
McLean.
McLean, yes, asked us to get a hold of him, that if anybody could, he'd be the guy to tell us which way we could go with a cheaper
Okay, great.
culvert than
Well,
what.
great. So that sounds to me like that's the priority when you get together. If
Yep.
it's at all possible, if you could bend Jeff's ear on the topic of this one.
This
Like I
one,
said,
yep.
he inspected it just the year before too.
Yep.
So that will give us a little bit more insight into this. And
Yep.
I think maybe after that, we want to consider calling this Jim Foster.
Yep.
I'm asking him a little bit more about it. I mean,
Mhm.
if nothing else, I think that given our funding and given you know, our bridge and culvert replacement program in town, I think that, you know, it will have to get in line, but it would be good to let the state know that we are at least thinking well about this.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
And
okay.
asking them to come and talk to us about it
Yep.
is probably a good way to go about that. Hi.
Yep,
Okay,
okay.
so next. Is there a CEO report tonight?
No, but I have some correspondence. After I have the packets ready. Nancy, would you like to-
Do you know who this fellow is?
Yep, it's Dave Walker. Yep, I know him.
Oh, yeah. 201. Well, we'll take that under advisement. Thank you for that, Leanne. Do we have anything from the animal control officer?
No. She did, I did send her the unlicensed dog list in April. And I let her know as when people come in to license their dogs, so she doesn't go after them.
Mhm.
I haven't heard back.
Okay. Planning board report. We have the subject of the we'll talk about this legal services opinion on the shoreline zoning and planning board report.
I have it down below, but it's up to
You do have it, oh, yes, I'm sorry, you do have it down below. Okay, oh, no, we can wait. Okay. Ordinance committee, anything from the ordinance committee? Probably not, since we've certified the ordinances for the town warrant.
I'm here by phone. We turned in our ordinances and haven't any new charges.
Right, no, I just, it's on my agenda, so I said ordinance committee, but I understand that we have certified the ordinances to be sent to the town, to go in the town warrant, so it's not, you know. No, you
There were
probably,
others on the list, but have to be.
Ray Hunter's on there too, Leanne.
awesome.
Like somebody's got a message on there.
Yeah, there is, but you know something, it's not. Sending us
Read it.
messages at a Zoom meeting kind of doesn't work, since none of us is really man in the shop. Do you want to check on that message and see who it is or what?
Can you see it with the glasses?
Well, you got,
There you go.
yeah,
Go down to that and click on that.
What does it say? There's Lenny.
What your diary says, SEL is about,
Program's a bit complicated for the back.
no, here, let me see. He says SEL is about just about everything about how to live life. It's a program, it's a bit complicated, best to watch it yourselves, and you can find it on your Facebook Messenger page. Okay, well, so maybe it's life skills. I don't know. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, I think that's a good part of it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's,
Empathy and how to get along and how to solve problems and the whole thing.
well, it's amazing how many kids don't learn that stuff at home. Okay, so anything from the fire warden? How's he making it?
Haven't heard from him.
No,
I've seen him out in the yard. but
no, still on 2 feet then. Okay, and then treasury report we have. Do we have anything beyond the expense detail?
Bank reconciliations, and I just sent out 45 foreclosure notices on Tuesday.
Mhm. So,
What's the health number? Well, I see some outstanding checks, but I don't see any that are truly antique. That's good.
I reissued one to Jan. I
Right.
don't think he's cashed it yet.
Yeah, looks like the date is 5/16/22, so. Very possibly not. That was kind of recent.
Just number 400,000 of that money is the bond.
Pardon?
400,000 of that money is the road bond.
Right. Take a closer look at that. and distinguish it. Yeah. It's a good reminder to me to shut off my ring. Hoping you don't get a call anyway. The only call I can picture having tonight would be from the folks who are looking after my grandchildren. And I just really hope I don't get a call. Do that. Okay, so we have a bunch of calendar reminders. Budget informational meeting. And what's the nice book? I always thought it was always up in the,
This is just an
oh, just
information.
informational. Oh, yeah, right, okay. On May 25th.
Number 2 is actually on June 1st. I didn't put the date.
Oh, the budget vote. So let me see, May 25th. Wednesday. And this informational meeting starts at 6.
Doesn't see that part. I'm sure that we.
I
send out
got
a
their
flyer.
paper, I got their paper and the flyer in the mail today, but I come from work about 5:30, so I haven't had time to look at it.
If you go to RS10, you'll find that all of those meetings are listed on their page under events. Time and date and place.
Well, for right now, for the sake of putting it in my calendar, I'm going to guess it starts at 6 because their meetings start fairly early. All right, and that's probably the same thing in the RSU 10 budget vote.
6:30 or so. So you get there
It
at
could be
6,
6:30. Well, if I put 6 in my calendar, I have a prayer getting there on time.
What date is number 2, the RSU?
6/1, same night as the budget, the hearings here.
Oh, great. So if anybody actually wanted to be up there.
No one goes but me.
I did 1 year.
Lee went back in 1990.
I did 1 year because I took John
We'll
with me.
surprise them this year.
Well, I've been more than once. No, actually, I think I'll probably be here for the budget hearings. You know, I think that's where my attention is best placed. Public hearing on the ordinances and the local option on June 1st at 7 p.m. And then public hearing warrant articles, winter road closing, ARPA candidate night, 6 p.m. at Town Hall. Is that also June 1st?
June 2nd.
June 2nd.
So
Yes,
on June
maybe.
2nd, you both have a chance to stand up and introduce yourselves.
Gonna be a big.
Okay, June 1st, 7 p.m. And June 2nd.
And then Saturday's that celebration of life right here.
Yeah, this Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And then, of course, we have a free swap shop buy nothing sale here on June 4th. It's ahead of the bulky waste. So if anybody has stuff that's really kind of too good to throw on the dump that somebody else might want, you can bring it here and folks can come and take it.
People can drop that on Friday night.
There are hours Friday night. Lenny, can you tell us what the hours are on Friday night?
2 to something.
No one reserved the hall for Friday night.
No, no one has reserved the hall for Friday night.
I know it's 2 o'clock to something.
Well, she must be muted.
Yeah, she's muted and she may or may not even be listening. Who knows? I mean, she might be still driving for all I know. So, in any case, yeah, well, does somebody else have the hall Friday night?
I don't.
You don't have the calendar in front of you, I understand.
The Friday night is 2 to 7.
Okay, Leanne just pointed out that nobody has actually reserved the hall for Friday.
Oh, well, that's sloppy. Okay, may we?
She doesn't have the calendar in
I'm
front of
sure
her.
it's free. but
It's more than likely free, but it was an oversight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 2 to 7 Friday night and 9 to 3 Saturday. Friday is to drop things off and Saturday is for the sale, the buy nothing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm actually at home. I'm going to put my computer on. I'm not there because
It's all good. It's all
I've
good.
been with a kid who's been coughing
Great. Well,
and
No, Richard's got his hand up.
thanks for that. Richard, did you have something you needed to add? Guess not.
Oops, no, I raised my hand before and I didn't take it down. I'm sorry.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so we have a quick claim deed to,
This is the same deed that I had you guys sign a few meetings
yes,
ago.
yes.
But they returned it because I didn't have big enough margins at the top and the bottom, so we have to sign it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks for that.
Fussy, 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 huh?
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen a deed returned for that.
No, they've been returned before.
Well, it's the
I
first
just
time,
didn't learn my lesson. Maybe not
it's the
deeds.
first
but-
time I remember seeing it happen, let's put it that way.
Recording in progress.
Oh, what the
Bless you.
hell?
Here you go, and we need somebody who's willing to act as witness. Somebody would like to sign alongside us, if you've just seen us sign that paper. All three.
All three.
Yes, my dear. That's why they have
I
three
see you
lines.
finally put the sign up outside my house.
I did.
Yeah.
No.
Great.
Back to you.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Just assume 3 marks to be back.
Right, and then there is the, find it here. This a little shoreline zoning clarification letter from, back from MMA. So, There was some question that since a change had to be made, a piece had to be deleted from the,
It's not just one piece.
yeah, well, couple pieces.
It's all the way through, because remember at the last meeting, I noticed that something wasn't from the original ordinance wasn't in the new one. So I was gonna underline it and show that it had been changed.
Mhm.
Well, I started at page 1 and I got to page 18 and I already spent an hour. There's so much from the original that's not in the new. And I don't have time to go through all 60 or 50 something pages.
It's quite a few pages. On that note is, in case it's helpful for you to know, there's no legal requirement to present a red line version of the ordinance to the voters, showing changes throughout the ordinance is done as a courtesy. When only the new ordinance is presented rather than a warrant article mentioning specific amendments, the warrant article would need reference adopting something like 2022 shoreline zoning ordinance.
I'm sorry, I missed which ordinance you're talking about.
Shoreline zoning.
Oh, okay.
May I ask a question? The shoreline zoning, what are you changing from that?
Well, by gosh, if we didn't at the original hearing, we would have known a little bit more about it. Would you like to? What? What we're doing is trying to adopt the Department of Environmental Protection made some global changes and directed the towns to make those changes to their shoreline zoning ordinances and adopt them. And this was 5 years ago. I mean, you know,
Well,
it was quite some time ago. And we did this, presented it to the townspeople, and there was a part that folks didn't like. It had to do with the cubic feet of acceptable expansion.
You want to expand by Brooks from 75 feet to 100, is that what you're talking
I didn't
about?
say anything about brooks.
No, it's shoreline zoning, it's still.
No, shoreline zoning is shoreline zoning.
That's right.
Would you like to read the ordinance?
I'm just asking different questions.
Well, there were a number of changes throughout, but you know, we're talking about, how many pages is it? 60?
Almost 60.
Oh.
I'm just asking if you're just adding more feet to protect like Brooks and rivers and
100 feet.
lakes.
I think
Oh,
that's.
I don't think that part changed.
No.
Okay.
I don't believe that part did change, actually. You know, there were some changes. You know, one of the changes in Hartford, for instance, is we used to have a 40% rule of how much anyone is allowed to cut. And the state standard is 30%. But the Hartford had a more stringent requirement, which meant that if we were in a situation where somebody's cutting within shoreline, we would have to hire a forester to mind the situation. Whereas if we were to adopt the state standard of 30%, then the state is on the hook for doing that job. Which to me makes a whole lot more sense, because it's a little less headache, it's a little less stringent, but it's, you know, that way.
We and I are Congress, some of the other.
Well, you know, I'm not, but the piece I'm talking about has nothing to do with nuisance trees on residential or even recreational lots. What I'm talking about is logging within shoreland areas.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be commercial logging. That would be an example of one of the changes. But geez, I'd be hard pressed to tell you all the changes just here and now without sitting right down and looking through the entire thing with you.
Right.
But you,
I pretty much know all the walking rules.
well, I'd like to hope. In any case, you know, you're welcome to have a copy to look it over and. But in any case, Yeah, he's what he says, she. Yeah, he says, finally, returning to your question of whether another hearing is necessary after giving this some more thought, the answer is no. So long as the previous hearing was properly advertised,
We haven't even had our hearing yet. The planning board had a hearing,
the planning board.
so she misunderstood me.
And Hartford will be holding an open town meeting. If, however, Hartford is holding a referendum town meeting vote on ordinance amendments, the select board does need to have a hearing on the final version of the ordinance. So my understanding was that the shoreland zoning ordinance, it's upcoming, right?
June 1st.
But that says ordinances, and that presumably includes the shoreline zoning ordinance. So June 1.
So what do you want to do about this? The word, it doesn't show all the changes. Do you want to bring it to the voters illegally without all the changes shown?
Have you talked to Peggy about this at all?
Yes, she said it's fine.
Becky says it's fine.
Peggy,
Peggy.
and I forward all these emails to the planning board.
Mhm. Laura?
See what they say at town meeting.
I guess I'm looking for your input on this.
The way it sounds. We'll have to do nothing on it.
Did you say that?
I don't think anybody heard what you said.
Well, I read that and it said you don't have to do nothing about it, so. We'll do nothing about it.
Well, yes, you do. She said, if you want to present it with no changes shown, you have to present it differently on the town meeting warrant. You have to call it like a whole new ordinance. But since it's not, it's an amendment, you have to show every change in here, and it's not shown.
Now what do we do? Rewrite it? Have both of them?
Or does it go by another year?
I do not want to see us go by another year.
She suggests that you ask the planning board to provide a copy in the email,
Mhm.
and then the select board can certify that updated copy.
Sounds like the best route.
Beg your pardon? Yes?
As a voter, I think a voter has to know all the changes before they vote on it. You can't just-
I think that's, I think that kind of goes without saying, for the most part.
Yeah, just vote on it. It's different, so they know. Because
Mhm.
if you vote on something and you write, you come back and fight.
That makes sense to me, I guess I'm looking at this and wondering, it's okay, how much time do we have to
But it
ask the
says,
planning board?
to say, so you can have a planning board do that one.
They're the ones who did all the work.
Mhm.
Get working on it. We got what, over a week still anyway.
We have a great long time.
Well, today's the 19th, so and that's June 1st.
That's right.
When do they
Well,
meet again?
pardon?
When do they meet again?
First Monday. Given that the hearing's June 1st, that doesn't give us a lot of time, then, does it? Although if I'm not mistaken,
Meeting in June 1st is a Wednesday.
right, and June 1st is a Wednesday, and they meet the first Monday, so
Can they hold a special meeting?
they could. It is conceivable that they could. And they might just have to, because the first Monday is the 6th. And that's after the hearing.
Yes,
May not make,
have to have a special meeting.
Pardon?
Actually, that Monday's Memorial Day.
I'd say they have to have a special
The
meeting.
6th of June?
No, previous Monday, if you had a special meeting on Monday.
Well,
Before
no.
the first.
Well, it doesn't have to be on a Monday. They can meet
Okay.
any time they want to meet if it's not on the regular meeting. Their regular meeting is scheduled once a month
Yeah.
for the first Monday of the month.
Yeah.
But they can have workshops and special meetings and so forth as needed. Okay, so, I was gonna say who wants to contact Peggy, but I imagine
They're good
that
friends
would
with
be,
her.
I imagine, I don't think it hasn't got to do with whether anybody's friends with her
No,
or
but
not.
you talk with her all the time.
That'd be a stretch too, but nonetheless, I can contact her.
Tell me to hold a special meeting.
Okay, well, then I can get her thoughts on this subject as well.
Mhm.
As I picked up my packet yesterday, I haven't had a chance to. I haven't had a chance to do that. Okay, so we don't have any clarification out of this, but I will contact Peggy. Send a reminder to call Peggy tomorrow morning. Okay. Capital outlay CD withdrawal furnace.
Is there anything in your packet about this?
Yes, just this piece from the minutes encircled.
So that was the motion that was made. But I didn't read the motion before I went to the bank, and I paid him $3,000 out of contingency and took the rest out of capital outlay. If you want me to change that and go back and get 7,500 out of the CD, I will.
Run that by me again, please.
Your motion was, it's right in front of you, take 3,000 out of, take $7,500 out of capital outlay CD and the rest out of contingency. But I did it the other way. I paid him 3,000 out of contingency and took the rest out of the CD. But I can change it. I can go back to the bank.
It says 7,500 out of capital outlay
CD, right,
and the remainder from contingency.
right. I did it the other way.
And you took $7,500 out of contingency?
No, I took 3,000 out of contingency and it was like 56 out of the CD, the remainder.
Isn't that how it was supposed to go? though?
Yeah,
That's not what you're,
there it is.
Motion to award the furnace replacement for the furnace to Steve Elsman at a cost of $8,250.39 and to use 7,500 from capital outlay
which I did not do.
and the remainder from the contingency account.
I did it the other way.
She just
So-
swapped them.
So in other words, if you had taken 7,500 from the capital outlay, you would have more left over in contingency.
Right. I can go back to the bank and take another withdrawal from the CD if you want.
What do you think, Kathy? You think it'd be a good idea to straighten that out?
Probably should, where it's in the minutes.
Yeah, probably. I would. Is any bother?
Well, minor bother, but yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
was only like a 64-cent
Yeah.
charge. Because, this took the withdrawal in the middle of the term.
Mhm.
The dog must have seen something. See something? You see
I
something?
don't know what I didn't ask her. I just shut the gate and tamed it so she could, if she does bark, she'll be a little bit less noisy. All right then. Open session. Does anybody have anything for open session? I suspected you right from the bat.
Really suspected.
Well, you showed up.
Well, and Lenny showed that too.
You showed up and you're not necessarily on the agenda, therefore I assume that open session is probably
So
still.
here's what the recreation committee is hoping to get solidified, is the state of the railroad bed. It is not a town road, is that correct?
It is not a regular town way, no. It is not a town way, no.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking these is that in order to make it passable, even for walking, the standards are different depending on who's passing on it. And so we need to know that. We have money to start working on it, but there's no sense working on it if we don't know what the final product is supposed to support in the way of traffic. There are, of course, the walkers, and as the recreation committee, that's our main thing. There's also people who would like to go up to the bridge, with canoes and such, which is also part of the recreation committee. But then there are people who also go on with great big logging trucks because there are people who want to go logging. They have land back there. And how far back is this trail supposed to go? So there's a lot of information that we need to have from the town, and some of it kind of nudges up against all of this stuff about what's a road, who owns it, what the purpose is.
Well, the town owns it.
The town owns it, but it's not a road. You just,
Well, it's not one of the town ways.
yes, and so what we need to know is how it is supposed to be developed. For our purposes, all we care about is so that somebody with a light pickup truck could take a boat to get into Buckingham Pond. That most of what people do is they walk and they cross-country ski and they snowshoe.
Snowmobiles.
And snowmobiles, of course, but
I'd rather not
snowmobiles
say
don't
logging
cause,
trucks.
ATVs cause an enormous amount of problems, and big logging trucks cause a lot of trouble. So,
BIM plans on replacing the bridge up there, but when is,
I have to go closer because some of us have old ears, even with hearing aids, all we hear is echoes.
the state give BIM the old bridge that was on the Gammon
Yes.
Road,
Yes,
and he's supposed to, whenever he has time or whatever, he's gonna put that up here on the railroad track.
that's what he had said.
And then he's gonna haul gravel in to go on top of them rocks that he put in there.
Well, Kathy,
Yeah,
can I, the last conversation we had with BIM, the plan was to have the recreation committee get more rock. And then he was gonna borrow the grader, if you remember, the town grader, and pull in gravel that's been pushed away. But Ramsey and Elizabeth and I were concerned about spending money if big trucks are just gonna be going through there and undoing it.
I'd say we ban the logging trucks, they can make other.
but he's gotta add more gravel up there too, because he's not gonna be able to grade enough to
There
go
has to be
across.
a lot of big rocks and a lot of gravel to go, just to be able to walk and just to have light.
And you got
Right,
quite a
pickup
ways,
trucks
he's
and-
got a little ways up there to go, like he's gotta pull out them pylons in the middle. He's not gonna be able to grade over them,
He's got to pull out what?
them pylons.
Oh, yeah.
that are in the middle of the track up there, and that I checked today to see if maybe if they was rotted a little bit, but they're not.
Nothing rots when you need it to.
No. So he still needs to add a little bit of gravel too up there.
Right, but we don't want to throw good money after bad, you know. Can't do it every year. We won't have the money every year.
So if there's going to be, for instance, heavy equipment going up there, that's not going to sink. You know, a little bit of gravel is not what we need there. What you need is a whole bunch of great big rocks and then gradations of sizes of gravel. And which becomes like a, if you'll excuse the expression, a road.
So do you guys want a road or not?
Well,
We would like to have a wildlife recreation trail. We would love it if trucks could just come and, you know, pickup trucks, not serious big trucks, would just go to just before the bridge where people have traditionally gone to get their boats into the water and that kind of thing. And then there would be lots of places for walking and obviously snowmobiles in the winter.
But the
Snowmobiles
question-
aren't causing any trouble.
But the question is,
And
can we stop anybody if they want to cut wood and log out of there?
And that's
I'm
exactly.
not clear that we can.
Not even on the
But
town.
I think the select people have to make, this has to be a town decision.
They can be held responsible for damage of the road because it's not theirs. It's a right of way in there for their property,
Correct.
correct?
Is it
Correct.
as legal?
And making it so that a log truck can't get up in there means that people who own property up there that they're paying taxes on as a woodlot can no longer access their property. Yes, there's Bartlett Road, but I can tell you right now, no, they won't have anybody going on their road.
Well,
It's a conundrum though, because the pickup trucks with giant tires who go in mud season and the big logging trucks wreck the road. Well, wreck the recreational trail that we don't call a road, but it's being used like a road. It's a mess. It's makes no sense.
but the other thing is, of course, you could put some kind of an obstacle there that can be unlocked, moved or something when a logging truck needs to go through there. But the landowner, I think, ought to be just as when we log. we have to build
I have
roads.
thought sometimes that a bollard of some sort would be in order.
But it can't be permanent because of the.
No, clearly, it would have to be, you know, but they have movable bollards in all sorts of places.
Yeah.
As needed.
So that, because the logging wouldn't happen often, and it could be just like, you know, if we're logging, we have to build a wood road in order to get our wood out, and the homeowner would have to pay for doing whatever they need to do to make that passable for their logging trucks. Or, as you were saying, don't do anything and hope for the best, but if the best doesn't happen and there's damage to that trail, then they need to be told in writing that that's their responsibility.
Could you not shut
Do
this?
people who have rights of way have no responsibility for maintenance?
But they can, right? You can't shut
Man,
this
you
down.
can't, that is such a sticky situation and really
To
complex.
Yes, for mud season,
And
Who is there speaking?
which,
Ramsey and Lou Brand.
Oh, okay. So
Sue is here.
what do we do? I mean, if they have rights of way, but they have no responsibility for its maintenance, then they're tearing it up and the rec committee is trying to keep it passable. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation. Maybe it should just be a road.
It's a ridiculous situation for a huge lot of people who live on rights of way as well. Because, you know, it's always, you know, somebody takes the responsibility for maintaining it and everybody else just drives on it.
right,
Yeah,
exactly right, exactly right. And of course, with the logging, it's so intermittent, it's not like, But the problem is that when the big trucks go over there and it's open to trucks, then the people with the big tires and want to get mud all over their truck people.
If I understand it right, according to Bim, who's quite a historian of these things, the real damage to that railroad bed happened, and the sunkenness happened when Timberlands had some property down there, and they just brought in a D9 bulldozer to
But that was the
smooth things up
beginning
and
of it.
pushed all the gravel to the sides.
And that was the beginning of it. But then, of course, it has become worse
Oh, yeah.
every
Yeah,
year.
sure
So
enough.
that created a nice trough so that it could sink down to the bottom. Yeah.
So the water runs right down it too. You know?
In a huge, there's swimming pools in the middle of it. So we're really excited about Hartford having this wonderful asset of a wildlife trail going through there, but
How long the trip is that?
that's the other
It's
question.
5 miles, isn't
Where
it?
is the end?
How many, 2 miles? That's it.
Nowhere near 5 miles.
I was gonna say, it's not that far.
Yeah, is it 2 miles?
I think it's 4.
I think it's more than 2 miles because it's.
It's 4 miles.
To the rocks.
Wow,
That surprises me.
me too. I thought it was more than
I
that.
thought it was more than that.
I believe it's 4 miles.
Leanne says 2.
Huh.
Yeah, so, but these are things we gotta know. Anyway, but so the right of way, when you talk about a right of way, you usually is a right of way is a legal document that says you have the right to that way. And do the people have a legal document that says they have a right to that way? Or should we be drawing up some sort of a document that says if this recreational trail is damaged, that it is the
I'd be honest with you, I
responsibility of the
don't know if anybody has.
I'm sure they do from the railroad company.
I'm sure if Timberlands is up there, they did everything.
Yes, they did.
I have a question.
Yes.
The logging trucks have been using that, I assume, for many years. Has the town ever asked,
Not like it's a regular thing.
Sure.
has the town ever asked a lawyer about whether or not they can block that off, and therefore not allowing access to landowners that have land up there and maybe want to log it? Have we ever had an opinion from a lawyer on that?
No, because we've never considered landlocking the properties that are up there.
Well, there's no way they can get get to their property without using the railroad bed. There's no other access,
That's correct.
at
in
least not
That's
for
correct.
luggage.
Almost all the cases.
But the warrant for that trail said for recreational and environmental purposes.
Correct.
And that was what the town agreed to buy it for, but that is not what it's primarily used for.
And
What is it primarily used for?
Well, in winter, it's used for snowmobiling.
Which qualifies as recreation.
Right. Yeah, I just clarified my point, but you know, not that many people walk there because it's not very friendly for walking.
So tell me,
Cars out
Dan,
there every day.
what is the
I go up every day.
what is the primary purpose if it's not for recreation?
What?
You just stated that the primary purpose of the railroad bed is not for recreation.
No, I
And I
said
would like to
that
know
the
what
warrant,
This is.
the warrant stated that it was for recreational environmental purposes, but I don't feel we're treating it that way.
Well, I guess I'd like to know who's using it. We haven't had log trucks go up there for quite some time now. Who's using it for other than recreational purposes?
You get
People,
there sometimes.
four-wheelers, mud runners, I guess that's recreation, but it
You
makes a
know,
mess. Makes a mess.
I hear you.
well, it is possible maybe, I have no idea, but just thinking if you had a weight limit on vehicles that could go up there kind of on a regular basis. And maybe this bollard thing, and then when somebody's planning to do some logging, they get in touch with the town and they say, we're planning to do some logging. And they've already said, we've already got this piece of paper that says somehow you have a right of way over this property, but it's limited to this amount of tonnage, except when you need to log on your property, and
Except
then,
when they need to haul gravel in.
huh?
Except when they need to haul gravel in. When they haul, the hauling in of gravel involves some pretty heavy trucks.
Well, that's because you're fixing the road.
You mean in fixing it up?
Yeah,
Yeah, but she's
But
not
it's the
talking about fixing
town
it up.
who's
She's talking
doing
about
that,
loggers.
right?
She means if someone's just logging it,
I'm
using
saying-
for logging,
Well, somebody just going in there for no reason.
that they'll have, then they've got the sign of paper saying they will fix the road after.
We've had a bond before.
we have. Well, that's just it. You've been around long enough, so you remember when we've had, I can't think of the names of the name of the outfit right now, but one of the larger logging operations has actually come to us with, formal paperwork that they wanted to use the railroad.
A lot of times they don't come back and fix their roads up, like Bear Mountain Road is an example.
Well, imagine that's right.
They were supposed to fix that up afterwards and they didn't.
Well,
If the railroad bed were a
Who's got
road,
to get after
it could be closed in
Well,
mud
but
season.
Ben's,
Right.
the thing of it is, it's not Bim's job to get after the folks who trash Bear Mountain Road
it's the
up
landowners.
above the part where the town owns, even though it's impacting our lakes.
It's also a code enforcement officer job to make sure that that's done, because you guys get a logging notification that they're up there, so you know who's doing the damage. And then you get them involved, you get the forester service involved, and it doesn't cost the town a thing. It's done,
But it needs to be made clear
yeah,
from the get-go,
but when you get that.
not, oh, well, I thought this and I thought
When you
that.
get the logging notification, you know who's gonna be there, so you contact and say, hey, just so you know, you can use the road, but you have to sign this paper that you'll
You
fix.
need to, you can use the trade.
Well, or provide a bond. Provide a bond that says that if you don't, then we get to tap into this bond to affect the road repairs.
So like, who bought? Who was it, Wyden?
Wagner seems, might have been
I
Wagner,
think they bought all three.
not all of it.
Oh, good try.
Not all of it, because Wagner didn't know what was behind my house. And
There aren't that many.
there aren't that many big
There are
operations anymore.
Like 3 landowners back there with this.
I really don't think the loggers are the problem. I think it's people hot dogging in trucks and on 4-wheelers. And it doesn't seem to be respected as a walking trail. Certainly not as a place you could push a stroller. Bim said he could get it up to that quality, but how do we keep it that way?
Hey, hold on. Would you repeat what you just said, Lenny, because you just got overrode?
And I
I said, it doesn't seem there's much respect for it as a walking trail,
No,
as a nature trail, or like to be able to push a stroller. Bim said he could get it up to that quality, but how do we keep it that way?
Well, I'm really interested in your movable bollard thing, because that
it's
was,
not my movable bollard thing. I mean,
Well, your
I've seen it in
idea.
places.
I know.
I've seen it in places.
but I know nothing about it, so, but that if there was some sort of movable obstacle that made it hard for a big truck to get in there. Hunters can walk,
Yeah, well,
they're really good.
At least conceivably.
Until they get their big moose.
Yeah,
or deer.
Right, but that's right, and then they're gonna need to get to haul something out of there, but you just need a regular pickup truck, you don't need a huge.
No.
Big thing
4-wheelers,
with big wheels covered with mud.
usually it's 4-wheelers.
Well, I
No,
understand, I
to me, it
understand
don't
the
look any different
frustration.
now than it did years ago.
Well,
What'd you say, Kathy?
I said, to me, right now, it doesn't look any different right now than it did years ago. Conditional wise.
oh, yes, it does.
I know,
Good, no.
the thing has been there for years,
The thing?
the puddles.
Oh, it hasn't been like that.
No, it hasn't been that bad. And of course, then they put in those large, I think they call it large riprap, big round rocks. Now, it wasn't that many years ago when Olika Gaynor was alive and I used to chum around with him. We'd take our whole horses and we'd go for a gallop down that trail and turn around and gallop back. It was thick, hard, firm dirt road.
Yeah.
surface.
That's how it was when I moved here. I used to ride my
If you
bike.
horse down there and a walk, you'd realize it would break its leg.
Norma
At
just
this
did,
point.
she said it was fine.
She did?
Until you get
She
to the
just
big
showed up at
rocks.
the town office.
What's that?
Until you get to the big rocks.
She said she didn't have a problem at all.
There you go.
We had
I-
we had a little experience down near our camp with a right of way. Now, if that is considered a right of way, then whoever controls it has the right to shut it off. But if there are enough people that come back within a certain length of time, and I don't remember what the time is, and complain about it, that have been using it, then it goes right back to the way it was. You can't shut it off. That was
Well-
our experience with a right of way that we had down near our family camp.
Hmm.
Does the town on both sides of the road?
Yes.
The trip? Okay, then.
Or at least a good part of it.
But that's
Part of
pretty clear that who has jurisdiction over that.
Maybe we should be looking at alternative walking trails. Maybe we should get a grant and see what we've got for property and who would allow people through their land to walk.
That's not, that is also not a bad idea, but I won't say I don't have a dog in this fight, because I'd like to see the railroad been brought up to standard. I'm just, I feel like I'm just
Right.
here. This is open session last I checked. And that means we're not here to make any decisions at this.
Right.
We are here to brainstorm, to throw around some ideas. But
Yep.
open session, generally speaking, is what most most select board meetings have it actually as public comment, and there's 15 minutes in the beginning of the meeting, and that's that. Our open sessions are known to ramble for a great lot of time. I take your concerns about the railroad bit very seriously.
You know what I say?
What do you say?
I say, wait and see what everything looks like after BIM gets the bridge in, hauls in more stone to fill in places and put gravel on it and grade it. See what it looks like after that.
He's gonna have to put a fair amount of gravel before I think he can grade, but.
He's still gonna have to accommodate big things that need more than filling with gravel.
Well,
I understand what Lenny says about the conditions for walking and so forth that were in the deed or whatever when the town acquired the property. However, also keep in mind that that road has been used forever and ever and ever by people with pickup trucks and
Well, no.
SUVs and so forth. And I used to see people that lived on Bartlett Road using that road and then crossing over at the end of the pond over to Bartlett Road. And it's been done that way for years and years and years and years. And not
However,
just-
Richard, it's not a road.
Not just ATVs, and pickup trucks and
Oh, I
cars.
know, but it's not a road.
Well, I understand that, but I'm
Maybe
just
it
saying,
should be.
well, I don't know, but it's been that way for years. It's very difficult. to
I
change
up there
people
50 years ago.
After it's been used one way for 50 or 60 or 100 years, it's kind of difficult to change it.
Yep. I'm just going to give up on it. Ramsey, didn't we want to get some clarification about the ARPA funds?
She said she'd like to give up on the idea and find alternative
I vehemently disagree with that.
She
The
disagrees
town
with you.
has an extraordinary opportunity here, a way that already exists that
Right.
the town just has to figure
Okay,
out.
so, and this is true. So I guess what I'm asking, what I kind of brought this up earlier, mentioning how other towns have open session at the beginning of the meeting and it's 15 minutes and that's that. And our open sessions are known to ramble on for a great lot of time. Let's not forget that this is open session. No decisions will be made at this time.
Okay,
If-
so let's put it on the agenda.
Well, now you're talking. If it gets put on the agenda, then we'll discuss it. And we can take it from there. You know, we could even have a special meeting about the railroad bed. I bet we get all kinds of folks show up.
And that would be great. And the reason that we're bringing it up in open session is so that the select board can start thinking about what these issues are that are way beyond the recreation committee.
Yes.
Maybe you could send letters to all the landowners who abut the road.
That's what
the
I
walkway.
said, wait, because this has been going on.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is not exactly a new issue.
Right, so if you contact them with a letter, let them know that there's be a meeting about this and
Yes,
have their input.
Good
because
idea.
their input would be very valuable.
Excuse me, what did Leanne say?
That's what I said a long time ago.
Write a letter to the
Did
landowners that own land up there. We want to hold a meeting. They're
Oh,
invited.
right. Good idea.
Well, it is a good idea. And if the town decides, not my decision, nor any single person's decision, but if the town decides that they want to, I think the select board can decide that, you know, any logging any commercial use or use of trucks over a certain weight, I'm not putting the number on here, would be required to obtain a bond. To obtain a bond for the use of the road, which of course a bond doesn't cost, it doesn't end up costing the town anything, but it ensures the town that if they abscond, as so many of them do, that we can fix the road up.
Yeah, I mean, these are great ideas. I would ask respectfully at the beginning that we stop calling it a road. I think that's part of the problem.
It's called the really called the railroad bed, that's what it should be.
It doesn't have to be a bond, as long as they have $1 million general liability insurance, they're covered.
As long as there is some fallback
Sometimes,
plan.
yes, and that way, the town can go after.
Yeah.
Should stay the railroad bed, that's what it was.
And they have to, the logger or the person going on the road has to show proof of its liability insurance to the town.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Paper.
believe me, Rita.
Excuse me,
$1
Lee,
million policy.
Kathy,
Yeah,
could you ask Ramsey if we're going to talk about the ARPA funds for the beach?
ARPA fund.
After funds.
About the beach?
Beach.
Ramsey,
What about the beach?
The
Ramsey-
rescue plans, I don't know how we got onto the beach. I thought once we finally get done talking
I
about,
think we can
this.
do that in a phone call.
I think that, well, I think.
Has it been approved at town meeting yet?
Yeah, it hasn't been approved at town meeting yet anyway, but, you know, if we ever finish talking about the railroad bed, I was going to say, does anybody else have anything for open session? Are we finished with this topic for now?
Yes.
well, I guess we're gonna put it on the agenda, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put it on the agenda to have a meeting and then we're gonna take it from there.
And invite the landowners, but we were trying to get clarification about, do we have to use all the ARPA funds just for the beach trail, or can we like buy some picnic tables? I looked up the recreational use and it didn't seem to have, you know, it seemed pretty open, but I believe we said at a select board meeting that it was just for the boardwalk and the walkway to the beach.
That's my understanding. Now, I think we have to look back at the minutes to see what exactly the wording was. But I guess my understanding it was for beach, for beach access, which included the boardwalk and might have included fixing up the trail that goes down to it.
Right.
That
But
was my understanding.
They got burned up.
I just wonder if we're tied to that or if we could make other improvements at the beach.
The townspeople have not approved this.
How many
funding in
picnic
the first
tables are
place.
you talking?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of things that could be done. You know, new signs that cover everything in the ordinance.
Who has the purse strings on this money?
The townspeople,
Okay, so this is a thing for town meeting.
correct,
Gotcha.
correct.
Get going.
Well,
Okay, so does anybody else have anything for open session? Don't all jump at once.
What?
I said, don't all jump at once.
about what?
I said,
Open
well,
session.
nobody spoke up, and so I said, don't all jump at once. It was a joke.
Okay.
I didn't hear what the first part was.
No, I said, does anybody else have anything for open session? And then I heard nothing, so I said, don't all jump at once.
That means nobody has anything else for open session.
Yeah, and they're not jumping up and down to put anything in. Okay, so great. Okay, moving right along, new business, RSC 10 warrants for election on June 14th.
There's 2 warrants, 3, I think, copies each. One's for a new building, one's for the budget. They all have to be signed. Right?
And 3 copies each have to be signed, okay? I figured this is one of those, sign so many of them.
See you, Ramsey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to see you again.
Sorry, to use up more than 15 minutes.
Sure enough, but, you know, I just mentioned how other towns do this because that is how, I mean, can't, 15 minutes for public comment and that's it.
That's it.
You know, and, you know, other towns as well. So where exactly are we supposed to sign this co-sign?
Those little tiny
Countersign?
tight lines.
Oh, these tiny tight lines? So they gave themselves plenty of room for big old squiggly flourishes.
I think
There's
more
3
than
of
one.
them. There's 3 of them.
Yes, it said there's more than one in each one. so.
Yes. Date and location posting.
That we were supposed to sign,
A little tiny one.
location,
Yes, ma'am.
right here.
No. What is it? I can't see. Is it there? Does that say
Yeah,
municipal
yeah, right here.
officers?
So
Okay,
countersign,
2.
1,
Okay, yeah.
2, 3.
Sorry. Good.
And you have to keep peeling them because
Yeah.
you keep coming to that same page again and again. It's the page with all the signatures.
Yeah, here we go.
Here you go.
So we have 2 school ballots, 2 municipal ballots. And 2 different state ballots. I'm already in confusion because some people don't get, you can't return the school ballot until after June 1st.
I guess I got one. Here you go, Kathy.
There you go. Oh.
Yeah, but you did that one already, Ken.
Yeah. You give her both of them back?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so MMA Legislative Policy Committee nominees. Some years back, Arthur Harvey served as a Legislative Policy Committee member.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I can't picture him wanting to serve in that capacity now. And I can't claim not to care, but I can claim not to have the time to serve on the Legislative Policy Committee.
Do or don't?
Not at this point.
Nope.
He's spending too much time working out of town.
No interest.
I have no interest in this at this time. Lori, you're getting down.
I'm not interested.
And I'm gonna guess you're not
Politics
interested.
anymore.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody here who is interested at this time. And then we have this, the town of Rumford cordially inviting us to a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the enactment of the Clean Water Act, which is a wondrous thing. But that's tomorrow.
Susan Collins is gonna be there.
I'm so excited.
I like
It's
it.
tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I imagine you can go. I've got other things going on. Sorry to say. I'm planning on going to the high school. I'm gonna be at the high school around 3 because there is more or less a celebration of retirement for George Reuter and a number of other teachers and other people who've been working for the school. So I'm planning on going to that. Lee Berry and Linda Andrews, I think. I can't remember all of them.
Muriel Perry.
Muriel too. See, there you go. So I feel like I ought to go to that. And
Starts at 2.
starts at 3. But I can't picture being up in Rumford for 2 o'clock something and then getting back because I've got someplace to be in the evening. So I think I can squeeze in both the things I need to do, but I'm not gonna be able to do this. And if I'd had a little bit more notice, I mean, that might have made a difference, but probably not, considering that there's other things that I have prioritized.
I also have that map email, the mapping email I sent you all three of you.
Oh,
I didn't know if
yes.
you had any interest in that or not.
I didn't have a sense of what it was because he said something about cost per parcel. And I'm not sure if he means like as in per property.
Yep, we have 11 to 1,200 parcels.
But if we had the money, it looked like a good idea.
I'll imagine, but I think that's something that would have to come to us ahead of the budget committee. Rather than after we've already done our budget.
Look into it another year, maybe.
9 times 12, hundred.
Some 10, 13,000.
That's, if it was $9, it would be 10,800. And if it were to 14, so between 11 and $14,000. That's not the kind of thing that we can just say, oh, sure, hey, why not? I think that's something that we'd have to take up for budget committee. Interesting.
Look into it another year. You go on their website, we did, let's see, was it Bethel or
You see,
Wayne?
yeah, you see now, and did you go and take a look at it?
Oh, yeah, it looked nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it is nice. And you notice the towns that they have mapped are Wayne, Bethel, and Lovell.
Looked nice anyways.
And the towns themselves look nice. They're lovely towns. They are absolutely lovely towns with tremendous whopping tax base.
And then you go through Hartford, Main Street.
You know, I don't
Don't
know.
blame.
Well, I was thinking of some of those places.
Well,
Yeah, well, we're gonna
Well, in any
do
case,
something about
in any
those
case,
places.
so, you know, I mean, just noticing the towns that they mentioned says a lot.
Another year.
Yeah, maybe so. Thank you for that, though. Oh, you know, yeah, and this, the type of thing could be done using ARPA funds if you still have some available. I mean, when did this come in, May 18th? I mean, you know, if they'd asked us about this back in January, February, we might have considered this and taken it to our budget committee and said, what do you guys think of this? And back when we were still discussing how we would use our ARPA funds. you
Just
know,
said if it
that
comes
could've been done.
sooner.
Well, exactly. It's kind of poor timing. If we were actually going to do anything with it. So are there any appointments or resignations at this time? And what about trainings? Nothing going on?
I don't know if there's any appointments, but there's no resignations.
Okay, well, you know. I don't have any appointments at this time, and I don't imagine you do either, do you?
Nope.
No, okay, and there's no trainings, and that's it for correspondence?
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the very end, and we can adjourn at this time.
Are you gonna see them?
Yeah, you want me to pick them up for him? Yeah.
Just those two?
Yep.
Yes,
Thanks.
I'm surprised we didn't see Brandon tonight.
I know.
So where do you live here in Hartford?
Other than that, I bought, Dover, big kids coming up.
Well, I wouldn't know.